Hello there, and welcome to Baker College. In this quick video, I'm going to provide you with a behind the scenes tour of Canvas, our learning management system. Although I teach in composition, all of our Canvas course shells maintain a uniform aesthetic and look, keeping with our one Baker model. So today, I'm going to lead you through some of the quick setup items that we like to see in all of our classes and show you some of the neat tricks and tips I've learned along the way. One of the first places you should check out when you're logging into Canvas is your account. You can click on that right here on the left-hand side, and there's a few key settings that you might want to explore. First and foremost, you might want to check out the notifications area. This is about receiving notifications for certain course activities that occur. You can decide whether you want a notification every time this action occurs, maybe a daily summary, a weekly summary, or nothing at all. It depends on your preference. You can receive notifications when you make an announcement. I could change that if I want because I probably don't really need to know when I myself have created an announcement. These settings will change automatically when you click on the check mark or the X. And so that's really important, again, to keep tabs on what's happening in your class from day to day or week to week. The other important section here, of course, is profile. You might have noticed I've added my own photo here. This is really a great option to create ethos for yourself as a professor, to put more of a personal touch on your class materials. And of course, I think it's always really important to fill in your biography. It's really easy to do, but again, it shows the students your background, your professional expertise. I've added some links to a few of the different projects I've worked on in the past. I think that's really great for students, especially when a person is working in the education field, to provide our credentials right there. You can edit this obviously right here. You'll go to edit profile, but please make sure any changes you make, you hit this save profile immediately or they will not be saved. So if I want to get back to all my courses, I usually hit this dashboard button. This brings me to everything that's happening this semester for me. Now, these are not only the courses that I'm teaching, but I'm also involved in a number of communities, as you might be as well. This will look slightly different for everyone depending on the number of courses you have. Another great feature with Canvas is that you can see all of your courses from this semester, but also the past. So you can click here to maybe review how you taught a course one semester ago. It's a really nice tool in case you want to revisit different content. Maybe you had a really great article you want to use again, but it lists everything that you have done in the past. Now, I realize that some of us are teaching math courses, some business, some Spanish, some science, but the one thing that remains the same is a lot of us will teach the same course itself over and over again. And so, one thing I've done to sort of just differentiate the three different Com 1010 courses I'm teaching right now is I've created some different looks for each of them, kind of customized an avatar. The first thing you can do here to do something like that is you can give these classes a nickname. I nicknamed one of mine OL Com 1010, but I nicknamed another one second session because that's the second session. So I can kind of differentiate those in my mind. You can also give them different thoughts. So let's take a closer look at a course shell itself. And remember, this is now that I'm actually in this class. This is what it looks like. When you first receive your Canvas course shell, some information will be preloaded, including major assignments, rubrics, and some of this information right here in the module. So let's take a look. Each class, whether you're in math or science or Spanish or English, comes with instructor resources. We have this course fix request. If you notice anything that seems a bit off in your course shell or that may be erroneous, you can please fill out that form. In our classes, we often include instructor materials. These are meant to help us. Again, these will vary slightly across a discipline, but almost everyone has this instructor resources section. So you really want to take a look at that and see what kind of helpful materials are there. Moving forward, we have this start here information, and this is one of the things that we always ask everyone to have filled out before the first day of class, the faculty information. Again, this is another place and space where I can establish my ethos to my class. I can talk about where they can contact me as well as office hours. Some people like to give out their cellular phone number. That is not required. You can offer a Google call. You can offer virtual office hours. I think there's a lot of ways to establish that, but I do always want to see that we have this information filled in here for our students to contact us. You'll notice that your course, like mine, will come with your assignment summary. Yours might say online. This one is for a face to face class. At any rate, when you click on this, it will show the major assignments, but I think it's really nice to customize this and add a little bit of the due date information. Not all students think in modules and weeks, so I try to customize this semester to semester to make sure that the due dates show up, not just the week, but the actual date itself. And you can do that and resave that in Canvas for your students. Now, while everyone can set up their modules in the best way they see fit, one really great tool to add a little bit of organization to your modules are these text headers. If you can see, I've kind of tried to divide my class up into sections so it's easy for the students to navigate and see. We can add these text headers right here with this plus sign, and it's just right here under text header, and you can create these little subdivisions. You can actually indent some of them over if you'd like, but I think that's a really handy way for students to be able to see everything that's happening in the course. Moving forward, you can see that I have a lot of different types of engagement assignments happening. And again, whenever you want to add something, you just go back up to this plus sign and decide what type of assignment or information you're going to add here, whether it's going to be a page, a file, a quiz, or an assignment. And it's usually pretty user friendly to use. For example, if I wanted to add a page here, I could just say new page, give it a name, and hit add item. One quick note, you have to make sure that this green arrow is checked off, otherwise the students won't see that. You have to make sure it's published. I have had some times in the past where I forgot to click that and make sure it's clicked for students to see. Say I messed up and I didn't want to use that, I could just easily go and say remove, which I'm going to do because they don't need a new page with nothing in it. So, what are some other tips that I've learned along the way? Well, I don't know if you noticed, but you can see that all of my assignments have due dates. That includes my discussions, that includes like assignments relating to pre writing. I give everything a due date. I think that's a really important way of helping our students keep on track. But there's also another feature that I want to show you. It's the Canvas calendar right here for students. And if I click on this, you're going to see something that I think is pretty amazing. And this is why I give due dates to everything. Pardon my laggy internet for a moment. And we'll go to this calendar view. And what this does for your students is it actually creates this really meaningful calendar. Now, mine looks a little bit busy, obviously, because I'm teaching quite a few classes this semester, and it's color coded as well. So, for a student, whatever professor is using due dates, they will see everything that's due that day. So, you can see I have some pretty busy Sundays, Tuesdays pretty busy, Thursdays pretty busy. Wow, there's a lot due. But this is a really excellent visual reminder for your students. And so you can remind them to download the Canvas app, it's free. And this will create notifications for them as well. The other really nifty thing here is if you click on this, it explains, it connects you right to the assignment itself. So they can kind of go back and say, oh gosh, this essay is due. Let me recheck the directions. So I just think this is an awesome feature. That's why, again, I add those due dates to everything. So let me show you how I did that. As noted, many of your major assignments will come preloaded into your Canvas shell, so you won't see a due date when you start, but this is a really easy fix. Anytime you want to add some information, you once again just go up to this edit button and click that, and then it will allow you to make some customizations. So you can, if you'd like, add some of these. This is not a group assignment. I think that's kind of neat. You can add a peer review if you want to try that out. But here's where I add the due date. It's just a little calendar and you decide the date and the time. You can play around with times since some of us are teaching synchronously and asynchronously now. You could make an assignment due during class if you wanted, but this would be for the folks that are teaching face to face virtual sections right now. But at any rate, we would just save those changes. So that's how you would add a due date and get that awesome function to show up. The other neat thing, then, once again, is if you do add those due dates, this coming up list kind of gives this in a nice chronological order for your students to see. So, really, there's multiple places and spaces for them to be reminded of what's coming up each semester. Another handy tool that I like to use just to make sure everything looks proper to my students is Student View right here. So, if I click on this, it actually shows me what the course looks like from the student's point of view. I think this can be handy, especially if you are shooting a video of the class and you want to show them where things are located. It makes sense to kind of look at this from their point of view and show them what they should be seeing in their class. At any time, you can leave the student view right here. and that's really helpful too. You don't want to stay in that too long. The other neat thing about Student View is that once you enable that at least once, it does something really neat in the Grade Center, which I want to show you next. Now that I've enabled that Student View one time, it's created what's called a test student account. And I can enter zeros for every assignment that I have this semester, and it will actually tally up to let me know that I have the correct amount of points. Well, I'm missing 5 points because I have to add a zero there, so that's a good lesson for me. But at any rate, now I know that I have exactly 1,000 points. I think it's really important that this grade section, this grade book, is super clear and transparent for our students to see. Sometimes I've noticed that people have things cordoned off or sectioned. Really, everything should be in one area. This should always be 1,000 points. There shouldn't be one section that says 600 and others that says 300 because students don't want to have to add those two different grade center totals together to get their current grade. We want to make sure that everything is tallied up here. So right now it's the beginning of the semester. We haven't had that many points right now, so people are mostly doing pretty well. But at any rate, we want to make sure that this is always exactly 1,000. Once again, that keeps with our one Baker model. This makes it very clear for students to know what their grade is at all times. And so I like this test student because I know I have that 1,000 points. Whether I've added or subtracted an engagement assignment along the way, I can easily see my total, and the students can as well. All right, just one last feature I want to talk about on the side right here. We have integrated Zoom, which is super awesome. It shows up in your course shell immediately. And so when you click on that, I know for some of our folks online, we might not be doing synchronously, but perhaps you want to schedule standing office hours for your students or something of that nature. You can schedule meetings here. And what's super cool about this, as you can see, is that I've scheduled all my meetings for the next semester, which is great. So you can schedule a standing meeting, and not only does it schedule it for the students, but it adds it to their calendar right there, and it generates a message for them as well. So I think this is really great. A lot of people have asked, well, should I use Google Meetings or should I use Zoom? I think the choice is up to you, but for me, because I'm trying to stay organized, Zoom just seemed to be such a good fit because I was able to schedule everything. I can record all my meetings if I want. Again, this may sound like something for people that are teaching in the face to face world, but when we are teaching online, we might want to keep those ongoing office hours with our students. You know, maybe you have one office hours section in the morning and then maybe you have one at night, but you want to keep it on the same day. So this can be really helpful as well. So, all in all, I hope this has been a helpful behind the scenes tour of Canvas. There's a lot of great things we can do on this. I think it's a really useful tool for everyone, and I hope this helps. Thanks, and welcome to Baker College.